Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our new features for 2025 Wave 1. My name is Michelle Cerna. For those of you who don't know me, I am first and foremost a mom of 4 humans and 3 dogs. We live in Southern California, and I am the Director of Ideation Strategy. I'm also a Microsoft MVP. And a lot of you probably know me as Director of ERP, so this might seem a little bit abrupt of a new title for you and probably wonder what the heck a Director of Ideation Strategy does. Well, that's kind of the point of having a different non-traditional title. For our clients, it means that I get to take your big ideas, your goals, your challenges, your what ifs, and I help turn them into your actionable business strategies. I get to help you dream big and make those dreams operational. But I also have the same role internally. So for True North, my role is to try to be an idea factory. So I try to come up with ways that we can help you solve problems by the services that we offer, help dream up how our roles internally help us grow sustainably and scale for the use of our clients. Overall, I have consulted with Dynamics GP and Dynamics Business Central for over a decade, and I turned my love of consulting into a love of solving business problems. So today, I get to show you the new features in Business Central, mostly because I'm just super excited about them, but also as a Microsoft MVP, I just need to keep up to date. So I figure, what a better way to practice my learnings than by teaching others? So today we are going to take a look at some of those new features, and we'll start off and go back and forth between a PowerPoint deck and live demos. As always, if you have questions, please put them in the chat and we will try to answer them in line or throughout the presentation. But then if you also just want, feel free to reach out to me after or your client success manager. And with that, we'll hop into some of our new features. So I'm going to start off with some of my favorite features. They're kind of small in the grand scheme of things, but they're really useful actually. So one I've been calling the sticky hamburger or the cheeseburger, and that is the hamburger menu, which we'll take a look at, and the fact box width. Again, they're tiny, but for me, they really pack a punch. So I'm just going to hop into my Business Central environment here. We're going to take a look at that sticky hamburger. So the hamburger menu up here was added a few releases ago, but I liked it if I was looking for something specific, couldn't figure out what the name of the report was. But overall, I was always mad at it because it would go away if I clicked on something. So if I clicked on a report, then my hamburger would close. And if it was the wrong one, I had to go through the same steps. However, now there is a way to keep your hamburger sticky, or what I'm calling now the cheeseburger. And whenever you come to your hamburger menu now, you will see when you come to these that there's going to be another way. Let me make sure my environment here. Um, let's hop on this guy. Sorry, guys. Actually, it would have been a perfect indicator of how it wasn't sticky. But you will see once I get into this new environment that there is going to be a different icon. So same hamburger menu, but a fresh version of 2025 Wave 1. And when we get in here, I'm going to just do explore more roles because I like to have more info. See how now when I come to these, there's that little eye. And on some of the others, there's just this square. Well, the cool thing is that the eye is now an indicator of more information. So on your reports, this is perfect because it's actually describing what those reports do, more about this report that I've selected. Now, I also have that pop-out box here, or I have it on these types of items as well. This means that you can open up what you are selecting in a new window. So it popped up on my other screen. I'll drag it over here. So you can see my hamburger menu is still open, and I now have been able to access this on this other window. So if I'm popping around looking for the right window, now my cheeseburger menu is still there for me to come back and be like, oh, actually, I wanted my opportunities instead of the salespeople. Now you can still click on it and it will go directly to it. So it will change your background screen. So you aren't losing that functionality of directly diving in. However, you have more options now to open that in a new screen, and I really love that. While I'm here in the opportunities, let's touch on the second one of my new favorite features, and that is the fact pane box. So the fact pane box, I don't know if anyone else found it annoying because it would either close or open and not keep your favorite thing, the favorite way that it is. It would always just default. And also it might be not wide enough to read all the info. Well, now your fact box pane has a memory, so it knows what your preference is, but you also have the ability to drag out your fact box pane to make more real estate on the screen. So that one I really love. It makes it interacting with these different pages a little bit easier. If I hop back into my deck here, one of the new features that's coming out, I believe it's going to be released in the next 2 weeks. It's in the newest version, but it's in 26.2 instead of point 0.1, is check total amounts on purchase orders. So for anyone who was GP users, I think that this was a feature in there that you did not have when you got here to Business Central. However, they are bringing it back in. And that is where you can type in the document amount of your purchase invoice. It will also be on purchase credit memo pages, but you fill in these fields. And then when you are going to post that transaction, if it does not match, it will give you an error back. So this is not a required field. It's one that you would enable on your purchases and payables page on if you'd like this to be something that is required. And if it is, then these fields will be added to your window for you to fill out on your purchase invoices and purchase credit memos. So I like that one. Again, these ones so far are pretty small, but I think they make a big difference in kind of our activity inside of Business Central. Now, some of the biggest changes we've seen in the last several releases of Business Central have been all about Copilot. Some of them super cool, some of them just kind of shiny. I like these ones and they've got good potential. So we have autofill fields with Copilot. We'll take a look at this one. This one is available in the current release. And the sales order agent, we'll talk about this guy. I won't demonstrate it because I could spend probably gosh, a long, long time talking about it because I think they're super cool. But I also tagged a video in here. I'll put the link in your follow-up email as well so you can check them out. Purchase order agent is coming in September, and then summarizing with Copilot is coming in May. So we'll skip auto fields and we'll come back to that one. Sales order agent is in the version that you will currently have in your environment. Agents are Copilot's way of interacting in your daily work life to help with your tasks automatically. So, for example, the sales order agent connects to things like your Outlook. And when you receive emails that are asking for a new order to be created or details on balances due, it will automatically create that transaction for you and live inside of Business Central for you to review and approve. The same will be coming in September for purchase order agents that will do the purchasing aspect of that. Now, the only thing that I'll say with those is if you're interested in doing those, please, please, please let me know. It does consume what's called Azure credits. So we'll want to talk about what that means. A lot of people already have some Azure credits that you get with your licensing. So we'll talk about what that means for you and how those prices work, but also how you can get it set up. They're relatively simple for us to set up, and always happy to show you how to do that. Very cool. And then summarizing with Copilot is on my next page. So we'll come back to that after we look inside of Business Central. But so let's take a look at the autofill fields with Business Central. So there's a few different examples I've seen. I was at a conference last week that was put on for partners, and Microsoft demonstrated the next version of this. So I'll show you kind of the baby version of it, and then we'll talk about what's coming as well. But so inside of your records, let's imagine you have a new customer, and my new customer is, we'll say Microsoft. I put in my customer name. Now you'll see that there's these little twinkles that are on some of our fields when you fill them in. Those are Copilot engines in the background trying to auto create information for you. So the more information that you were to enter into this new customer, the better Copilot will do. But I just want you to kind of see what it does with just the name of the customer being Microsoft. So imagine customers that you're getting and it's their name that maybe is out on the internet. it will try to return information. Now, this is phase one. So in the version that we saw Microsoft present, it actually went out into the web and looked for this customer and also suggested their address. So that is coming in the future. But for now, we've got things like RB for the salesperson code and the document sending profile. And this little I tells you why. We chose this one because it's the most frequently used for this type of field within your company. Or we used e-documents because this one's most often. Now I've been playing with it quite a bit and used these over and over with large companies. And the cool thing is that in the beginning, the suggestions were, this is a large customer, and the other salespeople with large customers was RB. Or this is a large customer, and they most often were set up with e-documents for electronic invoicing. So it's pretty cool to see how it starts recognizing that this information is most pertinent to your customers based off of who they are. And then you'll see that it's blue right now, so I could either check individually if I want to keep them, or if I were to go leave the record, I could say to keep the selected or discard them. So it will then update them for you. It also does this on things like your items. So if I were to come to my item here, and let's say that I wanted to create a new item, I'm going to just do a physical item here. And I'm going to say this is the um, San Francisco purple lounge chair. And I want to grab a picture of my item. I can either take it with my camera, which was released in the last release, or I can come here to my downloads and I can choose my chair here. And, oh, I picked one that it doesn't like. Let's pick a different one. And actually, I can drag and drop this in. Let's just delete this picture. Yes, please. And let's do import. And I'm going to also, I've got my downloads window open up in another window. But the nice thing is that you can now drag and drop into here. So I can come here and I can go to, let's do this guy. And now I've got my picture. So you can see I put in very minimal information on my items here, but I can still come in to different fields and I can, let's do it on after our name here, and I can ask for my system to evaluate what information I have put in and have values returned. So when I see here that it's evaluating my name here, it is choosing my item category code for chair. And the reason why is because the item is a chair. It fits the chair category. Nice and simple reason, but it works, right? So the cool thing is that this is just the beginning stages of trying to have a system that is making smart decisions for you to help streamline your processes. And there's big plans for these to be improved over time. So you'll start seeing kind of these introductions. You don't have to use them, but they're pretty cool to have as an available option for you. Okay, let's hop back to our slide deck. And our next Copilot feature that's pretty cool is summarizing with Copilot. This one is coming out, I believe, in May. And the nice thing about this, I put some screenshots that we've gotten, is on your records, whether that's a customer, a sales order, an item, even your custom pages, you have the ability to get a summary of the different activities. So you can get summaries of the record by displaying some bullet points that are the top things that you should know. So Copilot is going in and searching through your data from your current page, from different fact boxes, from related pages, and it's also checking the statistics that are related to those different types of records. So it is trying to pull up urgent or important information for you and giving you a summary so that you don't have to go do those analytics on your own. So here we can see for my customer, it has that summary available there. And when we click on it, it will come down with this information. It's talking about their balance due. Their average collection period is 40 days. their sales for the fiscal year along with their payments, and that they have 28 open posted invoices, but they have one open sales quote. So it will give you back the summary, wonderfully named, of that type of record that you've selected. Pretty cool. I really like that one. In Business Central, there is analysis mode. I was going to ask you guys to raise your hands of how many people tried analysis mode, and then I remembered we're not actually in person, so you can still raise them. But I'm hoping you guys are using analysis mode in Business Central. It's pretty cool. I'll hop in there. This new feature isn't released yet. It comes out in another month or so. But this is a game changer in my opinion. So you'll see in the screenshot here, what's cool is you can now add columns from related tables. So for example, if I was creating an ad hoc analysis in my analysis mode on my customer ledger entries, we'll say, and I wanted to do a pivot table, I can now bring in related information from other tables. So if I wanted more details on the contact that was assigned to that sales order, or if I wanted additional email information from the related quote that it originated from, I can bring that in. So think your sales invoices, you can bring in information from related purchase orders that are tied together. So pretty cool. And then just really quickly, for those of you who don't know what I mean by analysis mode, if you don't know, please let me know. I would love to show you. But on any of your list pages, you'll have this pretty cool little square here, or even your Copilot here. But this turns your list into an analysis essentially. So that data can now be filtered here, but you can also turn things into pivot tables. So it becomes really powerful in what type of data you have being returned to you in what way. You don't have to export everything to Excel to be able to do it. You can do it right here. Though if you wanted to, it's also really easy to, because if you right click, you can open it in Excel, or even I have groups, so it won't let me, but you can even export these to CSV files as well if you needed to import them somewhere else. The Copilot on here, what that's doing is you just get to tell it what you'd like. So I'm going to say here, group by customers. What am I in? I'm in items. Group by items with more than 0 quantity. Item category for items with more than 0 quantity. And now it's going to take what I'm asking and actually generate that kind of a list for me. And so now you can see that it didn't quite listen to me all the way. I probably could have worded that better, but it did give me my quantities grouped, and then it gave me my item categories grouped with my items under that. So you can actually build these analyses pretty easily. And the cool part is that in the future, you'll be able to add on additional tables to essentially do a join on the information to provide a better analysis. That one's pretty cool. We'll probably do another webinar just on how to build those with those new joins as soon as it's released in a couple of months. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know so that I can make sure I put it together for you guys. Let's hop back into our document here. So this page, I thought about spreading over all of these things over on a couple of slides because it's a lot on one screen. But I also left it this way because I wanted it to be really visually obvious how many new enhancements we have for financial reporting in Business Central. It's kind of been an area that's been a little bit ignored for the last couple of years and hasn't had a ton of improvement. And thankfully, it's going through a whole series of improvements. And part of the reason why I wanted to point it out is because I know that a lot of times I've told you guys, make sure that you're using in your Business Central environment that area where you can put in suggestions of improvements for Business Central, and that Microsoft actually listens to what people put in there. And all of these ideas on the screen are from submissions to that request for new features from end users, which is pretty cool. So if anyone does those, thank you for doing that. And if you don't and you don't know how, let me know. I'd love to show you. But financial reporting is going through a big renaissance this year. There is a lot of features coming even in Wave 2 release. I'm not allowed to say what they are, but once they are public knowledge, I will let you guys know. They're big, especially for people who used to be in GP for Management Reporter. They're what we've been waiting for. So some of these changes that we have, let's just take a look at them, and you guys can see firsthand. So I'm gonna hop back home, and I'm just coming here to financial reporting. And right away you can see, so I am in a demo environment, but this is not one that I've been playing with for years and years. This is brand new, fresh. This is created it for 2025 Wave 1. These are all built-in financial reports. So back on older versions, there was maybe a few, especially the ones that started with the M. Those are the historical ones that update based off of your account categories and subcategories. Now there are a ton of available default financial reports. And with those, there is also the row definition and column definition. And those of you that have been on Business Central for a while, you know that there wasn't a report definition before. There was just rows and columns. So we've started expanding into these. Well, if I hop over into my row definitions, let me just get a list of all of these. You will see how many there are now. There's so many row definitions. Wait until you see our columns. But on these, there are some cool new features. So I'm just going to pop into one of these here and show you one of our first ones. And that is when I am here on my rows, I can even look at how all of these are situated on here. And I have new options. They're all hidden in my personalize. But if you come here into your personalize, you're going to see that there's different options for some of your formatting. And some of those are also when you're printing these reports, you are now able to print these into your portrait mode. So the one caveat that I will give to that, it is not an expanding portrait mode. So you have, landscape mode. Before you were only able to print into portrait, and now you can print into landscape. So you have more real estate, thank goodness, because we've got columns, but it's not going to expand still differently than that. So we're getting better, we're getting closer. But where a lot of the power comes from is also going to be on your column definitions. There is some new features here as well. And just before I show you that, look at the list of all of these new columns. There's so many that are pre-built for you now. And one of the new options in column type is actually month to date. So you'll be able to check out there's now month to date here as well. In your reports, so if we just hop into one of our report definitions here, this is where you assign your rows and your columns. You're going to see a few new things here. So under definitions, you're going to see edit introductory and closing paragraphs. So this is where you can add in any text that you'd like to be at the top and bottom of your report. So this detailed balance sheet is used for all of my life decisions. Okay, and then your closing paragraph. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed. Okay, so put in your information for intro and outro if you have that. So that will now print on this report. So if I wanted to print this out, you'd see those at the top of your pages. There's also in this area Excel layouts. I was again going to ask you guys to raise your hands. It's because I just did a conference. Now I think I'm in person with everyone. If you guys have not seen the new Excel reports and how you can customize them to have formats, and you'd like to learn, let me know. I'm always happy to do a webinar on that as well. I'm just not sure what everyone's really interested in for these reports. But Excel layouts, essentially what they let you do is export the format of different reports, and it has the data background. So you are then able to build charts and graphs, pivots, any other kind of analysis, ad hoc analysis that you'd like. The what if that's inside of Business Excel works with this. Power Queries work with this. You build your template essentially for your Excel reports, and then you get to import them back into Business Central. And what that does is the next time that you go to generate that Excel report, it will generate it with those queries or analyses that you've already built into there, so you don't have to do it every single time by hand. The cool thing is that now you can come in and you can assign those Excel layouts on there. So you create an Excel layout essentially, and then it will create the file for you. You edit it, you import it as your template, and it will update it for you every time you generate that report. They're pretty cool. Hi, we also have, let me just make sure I'm covering all of them because there's so many. New formats. So now on your columns, you can format your negative numbers to be inside of the parentheses as well, instead of just having the negative. So your report can have kind of that standard accounting format as well for you. And also the option when you're generating to hide your empty rows in your financial report. So if you're coming here to your printing, you'll be able to set up any of your starting dates, your ending dates, sending out to Excel, and have the options to be able to hide any of those zero lines. Okay, so if I come here to view my financial report, and let's go over to my print and Excel. Using layout is that one that is going to be using what you've imported. And if you want to update that template, they're essentially refreshable reports. You can come here. Otherwise, you can just come to print out your report and run them as your usual. Okay. So you can see here, even in the background, that introductory paragraph. Here's this one here. Here is my closing paragraph as well. And you can see it in the background on this report. Okay, closing paragraph is hidden down here at the bottom. All right, so lots and lots of new features for report templates. Before I leave, I mentioned there's all those new formats. They don't show up automatically. The trick is that if you, when we create your demo environment, I can also set up just a copy almost the same way I have it here. And they're all in here. So you can come into export and you can export out those definitions, and then you go into your existing company and do import. If you don't want to do that with 20 reports, let me know. We're always happy to hop in and do it for you. I just did it for us internally for our finance team because we also use Business Central. So it takes a little bit just to get them all in there, but not too bad. It's worth it in the end to have all of those pre-built rows and columns for you. And just to demonstrate how many rows and columns we have gotten over the last couple of releases, Wave 2 of 2024 and then Wave 1, the ones that you haven't seen yet are there's 2 new row definitions and 5 new column definitions also coming in July. But we got 14 new column definitions and 5 new row definitions in, I believe, December. So December or January. So they came out in one of the phases of Wave 2. So there's quite a bit of new reports in there. One of the big stars that we've had over the last 6 months or so is our integration to Power BI dashboards. And these are dashboards that you get with Business Central. They do need to be installed and configured with your environment, but there are now 79 reports that have been released over several dashboards. And I wanted to just give you guys kind of a sneak preview of what they look like so that you can see. The one thing I will tell you is that it does require a Power BI Pro license. So some of the other basic dashboards that were in Business Central on your Role Center, they just came with a free Power BI license. This does require the Power BI Pro. A lot of people already have Power BI Pro licenses depending on what version of the Microsoft 365 license they have. So we will help you figure out if you already have the Power BI Pro license and if not, what the costs are for them. If you have not-for-profit pricing, I think it's something like $3, $3.60 per user per month, and I think the non is around 10 or 12. I will give the ultimate caveat that I am not a licensing expert, so your client success manager will have the true answers for you. But I just wanted you to know it's not that much of a cost to where it would be kind of a negative to these dashboards because it saves so much time in the end for your reporting to have these already built. So in here, I put 2 links for you to take a look at, and then we're going to take a look at them as well, but also what those Power BI dashboards look like. So your apps for Business Central, there's several that have to be installed and configured. Once they are installed and configured and you have the right license, then they're very, very easy to use. There is a ton of reports out there, 14 for finance, 11 for sales, 12 for purchasing, 11 for inventory, 3 for inventory valuation, 7 for projects, and 11 for manufacturing. If anyone's looking at implementing the 2 new modules that were released in the last update, sustainability or subscription billing, those reports are coming out in about a month, in May. So there's also going to be additional reports for those modules as well. And my favorite thing, I think, about what they've done with these reports is the documentation on them. And I'll show you why. So there's a few ways that you can get to these financial reports. One of them is through our new sticky hamburger that we saw. So if we are here, you'll see under the finance section, there's a bunch of reports. If you go anywhere in here, you can even just type in Power BI and you'll see. But what you can do is you can pop it out into another window and you can see the specific report this way. So I'm specifically choosing the profitability report, and it will show you those dashboards here. So you can do it that way. You can also click on it, like we mentioned, where you just click on it and it opens up in that window. But my favorite way of doing it is actually through the Power BI app, just because of how you can access them. So here you can see I've got all of my dashboards installed. And when I choose, we'll stick with finance, you can see my dashboard and all of my reports here. So I can start on my financial overview, I can go to my EBITDA, I can pop around, and I'm in my space. Just easy for me to navigate through. So I prefer the app, but I know other people prefer staying within Business Central so they're not moving around. So you have both options, which is great. Now, I was mentioning my favorite thing that they've done, besides, of course, creating all of these wonderful dashboards, is I was right away overwhelmed just because it's a lot of data. And my personality is that I need to understand how data works to feel confident in it. It's one of my things. I dig in and I dig in. And I was like, it's going to take me days and years and months and weeks to figure out what the heck's going on here. But the cool thing is in this documentation, you can choose the report. You can go to that report. We were just looking at EBITDA. I can come here and I can see what this report is. I can see maybe the types of users that are expected to use it. I can see all of the KPIs that are included. And when I click into the specific KPIs on there, it gives me the formula of how that data was determined and where the data came to. So if there is discrepancies or it's not what I expect, I know exactly how to drill in to find what each and every number that's on here means. So I really love that. These are all interactive as well, and you still get all of your formatting and filtering that comes with the Power BI dashboards. Cool thing Microsoft just announced with these as well is that this is going to be open source code by, I think it's the next couple of months. What that means is these dashboards don't have to stay the same. That means that you can go in and you can start editing the way that these dashboards are built. If you want to change around a screen, if you want to adjust the data that's included, if you want to filter anything out, it will be open code essentially for users to be able to come in. Now, the nice thing about having pre-made dashboards is that after we set it up and configure it, it's very low maintenance, and you have very minimal things that you need to learn about the dashboards. So right away, pretty easy to use. Pretty cool. I hope other people are also excited about Power BI dashboards as much as I am, but I also know I'm a little bit strange. Um, Next features, I'm not going to spend a ton of time digging into manufacturing just because I'm trying to balance with how in-depth we get with the things that are not super covered by everyone. But if I have people who are using manufacturing that want to go through all of these new features, just email me and we'll go through it together. We don't need to do, any support ticket or anything. I want you to still learn them, but I just don't want to have everyone sit through that manufacturing. But just a high level, there's a lot of new features. So one of the things that we saw, financial reporting is huge. And manufacturing, sustainability, and subscription billing, all of these are huge things for Business Central. And all of that ties in because they are really focusing on getting better reporting and better analytics. So you'll see kind of that common theme, but really great new features that are coming for manufacturing. Some other notable features that are out there in this next release here, you'll be able to submit 1099 information electronically to the IRIS. And so what that actually means is there's now going to be submissions available to be sent through API integrations directly to the IRIS. So you do have to have a specific IRIS. That is really hard to say. Anyone else have trouble? Transmission page. But once you've set that up, then you're able to submit those 1099s electronically and not have to go through all the motions to do them manually. So that will be pretty big. I would say now is the time to start getting that transmission code set up so that by the end of the year, when we are prepping 1099s, you already have it and you're ready to go for when Gina trains us on how to submit these 1099s. Other cool things, multiple people to post. So I don't know how many people have this issue, but we've had it a lot. Item ledger entries, job ledger entries, and resource, excuse my typo, ledger entries could not be posted at the same time by multiple people. So you would get a system warning message saying that you couldn't post it because it was a busy, transaction. Well, now you will be able to post, people can post at the same time on these different ledger entries. So that will help streamline things like your production, inventory transactions, project or job transactions. So lots of increases in your performance that are coming with these new features as well. Okay. A few call to actions for us. So it's time to test these new features. So you should have or should shortly, if you have the upgrade management subscription, get an email from the team about your new environment for you to come in here and test those new features. Please, please, please test. If you have any questions or concerns, just reach out to the team that is part of your subscription that you have for upgrade management for us to help you through any of those questions and get ready for that new update. As always, if you would like to push your update sooner than the time frame that we have scheduled it, please let us know and we will move up that date to fit within your preferred time frame. Don't forget that there are all of those new financial reports, those new rows and new columns. If you guys need help, please let us know. We are happy to engage with you to bring over that information for you. If anyone is interested in getting the Power BI setup, configuration, training on how to run them on the dashboards, reach out. We have several people on staff who have been working on these Power BI reports. Even internally, we do our own training. Like I mentioned, we use Business Central. These are really cool reports, so I wouldn't sleep on them if you can help it, because they will change your reporting world. We've had a lot of people really interested in Copilot. Earlier this year, I did a 2-hour-long boot camp on Copilot where we went in depth for all of the Copilot features and tested them out together. We worked on how to write prompts together, and we had a good response and people asking. So we have another one coming up. If you do not like public group activities, we can also do it privately for you and your team. So just let us know. But we also have been working on something called system optimization. A lot of our clients have been with us for many, many years. And as times change and companies grow or, uh, requirements adjust over a period, we have found that it's time just for a refresh. So we have sat with several customers lately and just talked about what we can do to optimize their system and their experiences there. So it's things like talking about pain points, things that don't work well, that do work well, or even just ready for the next phase, doing automation, Power Automate to make processes easier, implementing things like Power BI or Copilot. And it's been really great. With everything that's going on, getting ready for the rest of the year, we have had a wonderful time working with people focusing on how all of these automations and tools can help you optimize your business, have lower costs, have easier processes. So if you're interested, let us know. It's a fixed fee engagement that gives you a roadmap on how to optimize your business over a period of time. So we've been having a lot of fun getting to work on that and enhancing customers' environments that have been on BC for a while already. So please let me know if anyone is interested in that. We have a bunch of upcoming events trying to make sure that we keep you up to date with all of the activities that we have going on. April 23rd, if you use Power Platform, there is a new features webinar, just like what we covered today for the Power Platform. Oops, I forgot a date. Cameron, do you mind looking at the date for that Unlocked Extract and Restore webinar for me, and we'll just update everyone?
Not at all. Give me just a second.
Thank you. So what Unlocked Extract and Restore is, actually, this is a really great group to hear about it. It's a new product that we have. We found with Business Central, your updates or backups are actually only 28 days for 28 days, and then it's overwritten. You know, a lot of financial institutes require that you have a certain amount of backups available. So what our product does is it takes those updates and will actually move them into an Azure storage container so that you have all of the updates that you might need for your backups. And so if anyone is required to have a certain time frame for backups and does not currently have it, please let me know. I'm happy to give you the information of what this tool does, but we also have this webinar that's going into depth in May. And we'll get you that date as soon as Cameron just confirms. I apologize for leaving it off. May 21st is a high-level introduction to Copilot features. So this is just an intro to how Copilot works. So that one's a little bit higher level. And June 4th, we're going to do an introduction to subscription billing. It's a newer feature. We haven't ever featured it with anyone on a webinar. So Gina will be doing an intro so everyone can see how that works in June. Boot camps are a paid engagement. They're $99 per user. They are 2 hours in-depth training. So they are way more involved and interactive than something like a webinar. We are doing one that is specifically on Power BI for beginners and building dashboards using an Excel data source. That one's May 22nd with Julia, who is excellent. If anyone's gotten to work with her, you know why we love her so much. And that's a really great course for learning how to use Power BI and building your own dashboards. And on June 12th, we are doing the in-depth look at mastering Copilot features. Carla will be hosting that bootcamp where we will be going into all of the Copilot features, how to use them, how to write prompts, and we'll even be talking about those sales agents that are in there as well. So if anyone's interested, just let me know. I will send you out the link in our follow-up email if you want to take a look at the events. They're all listed out on our website for you as well.
Michelle, it looks like the Unlocked webinar that we have is set for April 22nd.
Oh, thank you. Maybe that's why I left it at May. It's actually April 22nd. So we'll send you out that link. It's a great one to take a look at if you are worried about the backups that you have of your Business Central data. With that, I don't see any questions, so I just want to thank you all for attending. We hope you learned something new and that you have a great time with your new features testing inside of Business Central. We are always here for you if you have questions on how to test those, how to use them, any concerns that you have with your system, and we hope you have a happy upgrade. If you have questions on any of those call to actions, feel free to reach out to me directly or your client success manager. If you don't know either one of those emails, client success at True North Dynamics is a perfect place for you to reach out to. I thank you all for joining us and hope you have an excellent rest of your day.